Hello, I'm very happy to be with you today. And after the film, it's not easy to talk. It's not easy to also summarize a huge exhibition which went through the eye of the storm, as you may see, especially a Turkish person who likes to wander around the subjects before focusing in. But yes, I want to talk to you today about the Istanbul Biennial, the 13th Istanbul Biennial, whose title is Mom, Am I Barbarian? And actually, although it's conceived and written last year in July, it is very much related to the questions of the Gezi resistance, which exploded through the urban transformation issues. Actually, in this exhibition, the main focus of the exhibition is the notion of public domain as a political public forum, and the question of multiple publics, if multiple publics, different worlds, even the contrasting ones, can come together, live together, and act collectively. And of course, we saw during Gezi that it is possible. This question, the praxis I took the city, especially the violent urban transformation of Istanbul, as the praxis site to think around the issues of freedom and space. So the main theoretical question is the multiple publics and the question of freedom, and the praxis site was the urban transformation at Istanbul. However, these two doesn't make an exhibition. I need the help of art to make it a good exhibition, and I borrowed my title from Lale Müldür, a Turkish poet, and asked the question of Mom, am I barbarian? If we think about barbarian, we go back to pre-Christian pagan times, where women were believed to have magical powers, so have a prominent place in the society. And if we think the title again, we are not talking about any woman, but the woman who is very close to us, almost close to us as ourselves. So it's kind of a more psychoanalytical question. But if we go back to the origin of barbarian, it is coming from ancient Greek. People who cannot speak the Greek language properly was called barbarian, and thus is not considered as citizen. So I thought that barbarian is very important, bringing two things together, the issues of language and issues of citizenship. So as we see in Gezi occupation, but also in Wall Street occupation, or Arab Spring, or Greece or Spain or any other place in the world, we are really in the search and demand of a new world, another world. So I took the language, the issue of language, as something that we need to learn to understand the most repressed, the most excluded, and we can ask in terms of the cities, who is the most excluded, who is the most repressed. But other than that, we are on the verge of a new world. Something is appearing in the horizon. However, we cannot really see the system, and so we need a new language. We need to invent a new language to be able to conceive the world to come. So this exhibition, I try to bring together different responses and different reactions and different positions to this call. And for that reason, I try to give you a very short tour of the exhibition, but mostly concentrated on 8 works, which shows us a kind of range of projects, these reactions, these positions, from very loud and activist to very retreated, withdraw position, or even to a defeated one. So before you enter, there were 5 exhibition sites, and one of them is the Entrepot, which is right now also a part of the gentrification. In Istanbul, you cannot find a place which is not almost under transformation. There are 48 gigantic projects from 3rd Bridge to 3rd Airport, to the highways, to the gentrified neighborhoods. So Entrepot is one of them. And it's the traditional site, it's the traditional venue of the Istanbul Biennials in the last 15 years. So a Turkish artist, Ayşe Erkmen, put a sculptural work at the entrance of Entrepot, a crane, a huge crane with a big ball which is hitting to the wall of the Entrepot like a ticking bomb, referring to the future of, very near future of Entrepot, but at the same time what is going on in the city. And the exhibition was conceived to open a public debate, and we wanted to use the most contested areas in the city. However, after the Gezi occupation and after the conflict was split open, because it was very agoraphobic, and people who really want to bring their ideas freely was suppressed violently. 7 people were killed, and many of them were injured. So the authorities were ready to regain their prestige through art. But in that sense, I thought art in public domain is to open up the conflict. And the conflict has already opened up. And if we collaborate with these authorities, we will again cover the conflict by giving them a prestige, a possibility to market themselves in front of the public. So with my collaborators, I discussed the situation and decided to withdraw from the urban public spaces in order not to collaborate with the authorities and give them chance to instrumentalize art for their prestige. And in the exhibition, as I told you, there are many positions. I didn't only select very loud and activist positions, but also very low voice and very subtle and personal ones. And one of the pieces which is in the center of the exhibition was by Fernanda Gomez. What I try to do in the exhibition, in the selection of the artists, in structuring the works, I try to do 2 things. One of them is unbalance the balance, existing balances, in terms of art in public domain. Because when you talk about public art, because of the social welfare states, many support from the government, education, most of the artists are coming from the north part of the world, northern sphere. However, if we look at what is going on in the cities, And what is problematic in the urban public spaces and public domain is mostly from the south part of the world and mostly from the east part of the world. So what I try to do is to invite as much artists from the south, from Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Latin America, but also from Middle East and as well as from the North Africa and Turkey. So I raised the participation number of the Turkish artists. Mostly there were 4 to 5 artists to 11 artist groups and activist groups. Secondly, what I try to do is to open up a historical perspective between today and end of 60s and 70s, because asking for another world, the demand for another world is not only valid today, but it was a question of the 70s. More than that, when we look at the urban transformation, New York from 50 to 70, also in Amsterdam, 70s, in Paris, a building of Pompidou and other, so 70s also very important in terms of urban transformation. And there are really very strong artists like Gordon Matta Clark or Mirle Laderman Ukeles or Provo movement from Netherlands from 70s, and I try to match them with contemporary younger generation in order to give a perspective to social change, to urban transformation, and the practices coming out to respond these changes. So Fernanda Gomez, I really place her work as a central position in the exhibition because she really brings very personal and artistic realities into the realm of a place. So I created 3 squares in Entrepot, and the first square is about the places and our reactions to it, and the second square is about the history and contemporary, and the third one was problematize the practices in urban public spaces from monument, which is the ideological implication of government top-down practices into the urban public spaces to very temporal performative practices like Jiri Kovanda, Mirle Laderman Ukeles, or Akademia Ruchu from Poland. So this is one of the very rare projects that is directly related to Gezi, because Gezi happened just 3 months before the opening of the Istanbul Biennial. So I didn't ask artists to respond to it, as it is still in the process and it's too early to I was afraid of premature outcomes. But this work belongs to Christoph Schäfer, and tomorrow you will have a presentation of him, so I won't talk more. But he has been in Istanbul since last year, February, and come a couple of times. And since he is coming from right to the city movement from Hamburg, he has already some relations with the Gezi people, and he spent some time, and they on the 16th of June, it was the date when the police violently evacuated the Gezi Park. That night, they came together in Hamburg and decided to give support to Istanbul through changing the name of park fiction to Gezi Park fiction, Hamburg Gezi Park fiction. But I adore his drawing, which is related directly to the earth tables. He mentioned about this because it is a part of the protest by sitting on the floor and having Ramadan dinners all together. And he was saying that eating dinner became a way of protesting in this country. And he was also joining one of them. But other than that, there are other projects like Maydar Lopez. She just have an observation of a traffic crossing, which is very difficult, and extract the way of self-organization or collective action through very ordinary everyday life moments of the citizens. And she even created a user's manual how to cross that street, and she's telling that taking action is easier when a group is generated. And the 10th point is self-organization creates collective ways. So there were different positions and there were different reactions, but one of the really very strong positions, and you will see this film, I think, tomorrow, so that I will only give you a summary with a couple of sentences. Halil Altındere, he's a Kurdish artist, but he made a film of a young hip-hop group who were born and grew up in Sulukule neighborhood, which is a Roma neighborhood, and it's one of the oldest settlements. More than 600 years, the Roma people have been living in that neighborhood, much earlier than my family moved to Istanbul. And it is one of the earliest sites of urban transformation. Although this neighborhood started this so-called regeneration in 2006, some of the grassroots from the neighborhood, Sulukule platform, whom I also invited to the exhibition, and Chamber of Architects and Urban Planners open a court case because it's the oldest neighborhood and it's a very special texture, cultural texture. In 2006, the court case continued till 2012, and last year the court decided that no, this neighborhood cannot be demolished because it is very important and it has a very, very specific cultural texture. However, it was already broken down, demolished, and 300 families are transported almost to the outside of the city, and the villas, the new villas, were already sold to the new owners. So, yes, maybe I should be a bit faster. And TOKI is the government organization which develop public-private partnerships to foster the urban transformation. And you will see tomorrow the video, so I won't continue more. But in Istanbul, the urban transformation happened as kind of by the government, kind of a mafia style, because they don't wait for the court decisions, they don't listen to the voices of the people. Last year, in January, we made the press conference, and at that time, I explained that I want to concentrate on Gezi, Taksim, Tarlabaşı, all were connected, not because they were the most contested areas, and last year in January, 80,000 signatures were already collected. Yes, yes. You should have seen the exhibition. It was wonderful. Thank you.